today's session, which is Know Your Fundamental Rights by Advocate Ambuja Mohan. This is a part of a mini series, session 1. The whole motive of this session is to understand what are our fundamental rights, aware of our rights, and aware that our Constitution provides all necessary laws for our overall well-being and the country's well-being.
So today, talking about Constitution, first I will start with the strong words of 17-year-old a young activist from Nigeria, Wadir bin Hirki, who said, what we demand. So let's continue to push harder than anybody in the room. So unless you push forward, you cannot get your right. Push for it. So unless, without knowing the rights, how can we? So for everyday activities, it is connected with the fundamental rights, which is enshrined in our Constitution. So as you all know, Constitution is the supreme law of our land. It is more a sacred test for the citizen and the governing us. And it's also a guiding light which shows the path how citizens should be governed by different governing bodies. So you all well know that it was implemented on 26 January 1950. And the speciality of our Constitution is the name of our Constitution, Indian Constitution, was borrowed from US Constitution like that. It was borrowed from US. And the functions was copied from the British Constitution, all the functions. And another more special feature of this is, it is a handwritten constitution. It was handwritten by expert calligrapher Sri Prem Bihari Naren Raisda. It's a handwritten version. He wrote it for 6 months. It took 6 months for him to complete the constitutional law to be written, 45. And he is not charged anything. When 6 months he did this and without any charges. And it is the longest written constitution in the world, having 215 pages, 395 articles, signed by 284 signatories of the being the member of the Constituent Assembly. And we all know that the father of the Constitution is Dr. Ambedkar, and we had other prominent then leaders and legislative people. So this, our Constitution, it is compiled like this. We have the preamble and we have 395 articles. And what today we are going to deal with is part 3 and 4, that is with the fundamental rights and duties. So what are the fundamental rights? See, how do we differ from fundamental rights and human rights? Fundamental rights are those codified rights ensured and guaranteed by our Constitution. Human rights are rights already available personally with us. So this is the difference. Like, so these fundamental rights, once it's infringed, the Constitution ensures and guarantees us that this is enforced. The right to attain the right is enforced. So this is the function of. So the part 3 and 4 of the Constitution deals with the fundamental rights and duties. See, every right is another man's duty. My right is another man's duty, and the other citizen right is my duty. So any a small gap in this will infringe another person's fundamental right. So what are the fundamental rights? The important, see, all the cases for every citizen, the important and the form right to equality. That's Article 14. Right to equality in the sense, it is equality before law and equal protection of law before law. Equal protection of a person before law. See, all are equal. There is no any difference. And to make it very clear, important and a landmark case is Maneka Gandhi's case. It was a case which really changed the scope and ambit of the fundamental right in Constitution. It was then given a serious thought. Brought her passport was supposed to be impounded because being a journalist, So Menaka Gandhi was prohibited from traveling abroad, and she filed a case against the state. How can a state stop her? Being her freedom to move out of the country, and this brought a big change in the scope of the Article 14, 15, and 19. So what it said was, being a journalist, she was prohibited from traveling, and no reason was given. So there is yet another concept called natural justice, where when any a case or any objection against us raised, we have the right to know for what reason. That we call the opportunity of hearing. We should be given the opportunity of hearing and to know for what reason some action is being taken against. That was forbidden. It was not given to Menaka Gandhi. And on this basis, and making the equality, the freedom to travel, her freedom being restricted was taken up very seriously, and the state, she won the case. And this particular section was in a wider sense, like the freedom meaning earlier it was in the confined manner, it was made, scope was made very wider. So that's the important case we have to, once we talk of Article 14, we advocates think of Menaka Gandhi case only. So that's Article 14 here. See, when Menaka Gandhi and the state goes, since the concept is equality before law, both should be given equal opportunity. So this was denied for Menaka Gandhi. So it was emphasized on state that this denial is not, it's arbitrary and violative of the fundamental principles of the Constitution. So that's how, that's an example case for you to understand equality before law. Then the next one is Article 15, which says that no state can prohibit anybody from on the grounds of religion, race, caste, creed, sex, and place of birth. So this is prohibiting discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, race, religion, and place of birth. In this also we would have, even this case applied. So this is what this Article 14, 15, and 19 only applied to Menaka Gandhi's case. So there should not be any sort of discrimination. We talk more about gender equality. So this Article 15 applies, wherein sex or gender cannot be a discriminating factor. Then it is Article 60, which says there should be equal opportunity in the matter of public employment. Person with every person with the same qualification, if they are with the same qualification, they should be given equal opportunity in the employment. So nobody can be denied because of, again, the caste, creed, race, religion, and gender. And the section 19, so Article 19 of the Constitution is the right to freedom. That is protection of right regarding freedom of speech. This is where press, our own expression. See, nobody, we have the freedom to speak our opinion. So on that basis, there cannot be any, our rights cannot be restricted. That is the freedom of speech. Then Article 21 is a very important article. It's a protection of life and liberty, of personal liberty. So personal, our life and liberty has a very wide scope. This is where even our V group and Sujata's sacred space and boundaries will come, because this is where our privacy is being promised. Everybody has their own space, wherein it should not be endangered by the other person. So everybody has their life to be lived in dignity and in the proper form. So it has small sections in between, and it ensures the protection of people of India, because it says that life and liberty should be protected. So this is where we have the right to clean air, we have the right to clear water, we have the freedom from voice pollution, we have the right for speedy trial, we have the right for legal aid, that is free legal aid, and we have the right for food, daily food, we have the right for medical care, we have the right for clean environment, right to life and personal liberty. So all this covers here, right to enjoy the nature, right to enjoy our resources of the country, it should be equally distributed, and everybody has the freedom. It should not be restricted. So that's the right to life and liberty. Then we have in this only, when it says dignity, it says equal education for everybody. Now in this, based on this only, right to education for children, free and compulsory education was introduced in 2009, wherein it said that even those who are backward class children should be given opportunity to study and should be free education. Every state should make provision for free education of the children from the age of 6 to 14. And the important point here is, if you go through that Right to Education Act for the children, it says that even government school, aided school, government aided school, and even private school has to have a 25% of their reservation for the backward class free of cost. I think many of our poor children, they do not know, and they fail going to the private school thinking that they cannot afford the fees. Actually, there is a 25% reserved for them, which the school has to allot for the backward or deprived class students. So that's their right to private. In the right to life and liberty, because education is very important for our life and liberty. So once these all type of free our rights are denied, our fundamental rights are in some way infringed or denied to us by the state or any other local body or anybody, our relief is Article 32, that is filing a writ before the Supreme Court. Only Supreme Court has the constitutional bench. So we have to file a writ petition before the constitutional bench there and claim our rights through the writ petition. We have different types of writ petition, like writ of habeas corpus, writ of certiorari, writ of quo warranto. So different types of writ of mandamus. So we have to file a writ and get our rights. And in this, another important article is 51A, which says fundamental duties. Like how we claim our rights, like that we have duties which we are responsible in doing. The duties to be done to our fellow citizen and to the nation and to the country. I will read out because it has its own words. I don't want to change the words. In 51A, the fundamental duties, the duties are to abide by the Constitution and respect the Constitution, cherish and follow the noble Indian, inspired by our nation's struggle, for this nation's struggle, whatever the message, we have to follow how our independence was got by us, and we have to, those noble ideas we have to respect, to uphold and protect the sovereignty and unity of India, to defend the country and render national service, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood, value and preserve the rich heritage of India, protect and preserve the natural environment, to develop the scientific and humanism, to safeguard public property and to abstain from violence, to strive towards excellence in all sphere of individual and collective activity constantly to the higher level of endeavor and achievement of our nation. This is what we NGOs, like we or Sujata doing this platform and all comes under this particular duty, that is 51J. 51J, it says that whatever to bring up our nation, to bring the values within our society, what we do is also one of our fundamental duty for the nation. And next point, who's a parent or a guardian, he has to compulsorily provide opportunity for education of the children from age 16 to 14. So these are our fundamental duties. So now we have to see the role of judiciary. So I said Supreme Court plays a major role. Supreme Court is the authority to enforce this right on us, right for us. So what is the role of the Supreme Court? See how they handle the fundamental rights. So one important case here will be like Sabarimala case. See, though we value the culture of Hinduism and their practice, see all that is strongly inbuilt in us. But still, to keep up this fundamental right and to protect this, only such an order by the Supreme Court was passed, wherein the gender inequality was taken off, and it has allowed the women to travel to Sabarimala temple. So we were thinking like, but it is the utmost and the foremost duty of the Supreme Court to ensure and guarantee the fundamental rights. So gender equality has played a big role in this, and we have many landmark cases. There was a very important landmark case. It was Air India versus Nazreen Misra, where she was an air hostess, and in the employment policy. Sorry. In the employment policy, it says that an Air India air hostess. In the policy, appointment and employment policy, it says the air hostess has to retire within 4 years of her marriage or on her childbirth, whichever is earlier. So this is a gender-biased policy. The Supreme Court found it arbitrary, and it was an order was passed where it said that this being arbitrary, such a appointment, such an appointment policy has to be removed, and like any other male staff employees, it has to be equal. The rules should be equal for both of them. The policy should be equal for the both the staff. So there are many. Then we have Mutama IFS case, wherein the same, she was a IFS servant, and similar order was there, wherein there was some restriction for the female officers, that such a restriction was removed. And we have the recent Vineet Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma case, wherein you would have heard about the landmark case. The hereditary rights has been equally vested on the women just by birth of a girl in the family. Like a male in the family, she inherits the property. So keeping only these fundamental rights, such judgments have been passed by the Supreme Court, and both the judiciary, our legislation, and all the state policies, it is the rule of constitution that they have to keep in mind that these fundamental rights are no way ruined by the new policies. It should be kept in mind when any new policies are being implemented, and it has to go by the fundamental rights of the Supreme Court. So this is how the constitution rights are there. So it's very important that we should know the articles of the constitution, and even the students should know, so that we know from the beginning what are our fundamental rights and where we can knock when it is being denied. And based on these only various other legislation. For example, what I want the students now to know is POSH, that is protection of women against sexual harassment at workplace. See, here also they say all these articles are handled. That is, there should not be any gender bias in the employment, the safety, her environment, and her space in the office should be protected. It should be protected not only physically, but emotionally and mentally. It should be protected. They should be given a hygienic and a safe environment and a space in their working place. Similarly, we have the POXO, where protection of children against sexual harassment offenses. It also says that, see, all the acts that come for the women, children, and the unprivileged, everything is based on the constitutional law. So it's very important that we know the constitutional law, which enshrines the fundamental rights of the Indian citizens. These are the basic rights. Because there is 395 articles now, and few are about the judiciary. 3 organs of the government. They are more technical. These are for the citizens.
It was quite an eye-opener as far as I'm sure all of us, and if I speak for me, it was quite an eye-opener in terms of so many, these fundamental rights are there in our constitution, and I'm not sure if it was a part of education or maybe I didn't study quite well at that time. But I think it's very important to know these fundamental rights, not only for ourselves, but also to ensure, because we have a duty towards others as well. I think we can open up the forum for questions. Any questions? Ambujam ma'am would can take questions right now. Surekha Shekhar, who's also a member of our team, V team, says very well articulated. She thanks you.
Thank you. Thank you, Surekha.
It is not a question, but she was saying about the right to education.
Yes,
The
sir.
private school. So since I run a school, I know that it is happening. We have to give about 25% admission. They come,
Yes.
and it is in the entry level. Only LKG we have to give it.
Yeah.
That is, you know, whichever is our entry. Suppose if I'm starting my school at first standard, then I have to give in first standard. If my entry level is at LKG, I have to give it at LKG. That is how it is. And now, last 2-3 years, they made it online, so anybody can apply from anywhere. Yeah, that's how it is.
It says that even the admissions should be transparent.
Yes, yes. If there are more than 8 in a, we have 30. If our allotted seats are 8, and then applications are more than 8, in front of the parents, we'll have to do this lottery kind of select the students.
Yes, right. And earlier there was an issue, no, unless the parents are literate and educated, the admission was given. So now even that is arbitrary. They said that on that grounds there should not be any rejection of admission to the student.
No entrance test at that level. That is also a different.
That's also. Now actually we did for convict children. See, the children of the convicts, see, they are in no way part of the crime. They are very innocent, but they were denied education. I mean, admission. So we are fighting for them under this right to a free education and compulsory education for children, no? And that we are.
Only one thing that maybe I'll add, there is one clause that if they don't have a government school 1 kilometer to their residence area, only then they have to go to the private school.
Private school. No, but here we tried for the convict children because their parents were not at home and they needed a residential school.
Not convicts, not.
Yeah, that's it. So we invoked this right to.
I know, great.
So we have comment from Sujani Baluma. Anuma, sorry, have I interrupted your discussion? Yeah, thanks. We have Sujani Baluma, who's commented that very well explained, brief but very clear. It's very important for all of us to be aware of our fundamental rights. That's for you, Ambuja ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a query from Mr. Praveen Kumar. He wants to know or he wants to know about the rights to speak our thoughts, especially on social media, because he feels it's very important for us to understand our rights in showcasing our thoughts in social media.
Yeah, even that is a guaranteed right to me. Right to speak and right to express is a guaranteed right. It is guaranteed for us and we have the right to do it. Freedom to speak and freedom to express.
Yeah, because frequently we post a lot of things and people put us down. We should not do this. It's anyway, end of the day, it's a freedom for us to speak our thoughts. But just to get a clarity on how do we put it, because we need to have some follow up, some ethics in doing that. Yeah. So first of all, just to understand that, just to get a clarity. Thank you.
Yes. So here also our Sujata's concept will come, as far as it doesn't go to the other sacred space and it doesn't hurt others.
Very true. That's very true.
Yeah. Personally, against the government and against other policy, you can do it. We have the right to speak.
Against the policy?
Yeah, against a policy, we have a right to voice it.
Okay. Okay. But anything against the decision made by Supreme Court or any High Court, something like that? Just to voice out our opinion?
Actually, you have. That's what is going on now, no? Prashant Bhushan issue is going on. Yeah. You have.
Okay.
You have the right to do it.
Oh, thank you. Well
No, ma'am,
articulated.
you wanted to add something. I'm sorry, Mr. Praveen, please.
No, I
You
said
can
well
complete.
articulated. Thank you so much. It was very informative. Just
Yeah,
a short, brief,
yeah,
but
I just want
it
to
was good. I
clarify
think we
one
should
thing.
have more.
You were asking me about the against the Supreme Court judgments and juries.
Correct.
No? As far as it's now defamatory, as
Okay.
yeah, I mean the appreciation. If they have done well, and if you really feel that something has gone wrong, it can be done, but it should not be defamatory in a personal way.